Hi everyone, welcome back to KW Ross Patterns. In this tutorial today, you are going to learn about parallel lines cut by transversal. Now, when you see two arrows on a line that's given going in the same direction, that is telling you that those two lines are parallel to each other. So line S is parallel to line T. Now, the transversal line is line U, and that is cutting the two parallel lines. Now, also when you see the symbol with its two strokes here, that's telling you that that line is parallel. You're talking about parallel lines, and when you see this symbol here, that's telling you that two things are congruent, whether it's angles or the segments are congruent in length. And when you see the symbol, it's telling you that that is an angle. So let's get started. Now, when you have a parallel lines cut by transversal, you are going to have four congruent angles that are going to be formed from this scenario. Now, you have the alternate interior angles will be formed, the corresponding angles, the alternate exterior angles, and the vertical angles. I will touch on the other thing, but it is not a congruent angle, so I'll leave that for last, the consecutive interior angles. Now, say for instance, the alternate interior angles, the word alone interior is telling you something here that is inside of the two parallel lines. So inside, you have to look inside of the two parallel lines to see the alternate interior angles. Now, if I label this, say for instance, this is 3 and this is 6, then I can say these two angles are the alternate interior angles because they're located inside of the parallel lines, and they are also on alternate side of the transversal line, which is line U. So we can say that angle 3 is congruent to angle 6 in this case. All right. Another pair of alternate interior angle that I can talk about, we label this as 4 and then this is 5. We can say that angle 4 is congruent to angle 5. All right, so in this scenario, we have two pairs of alternate interior angles that are congruent. Now, we'll touch on the corresponding angles now. The corresponding angles are different. It's formed when one of the angles located on the outside of the two parallel lines and one is located on the inside of the two parallel lines, but on the same side of the transversal, which is line U. So let's notate that. So if I have angle 1 here, and I also will say now angle 1 is going to be congruent to angle 5. So I can start off with the first one. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. That's the first pair of corresponding angles. And the second pair of corresponding angles, if I label this angle right here as 7, then I can also say that angle 3 is going to be congruent to angle 7. All right, so that's another pair. Now I can add another one. All right, if I add 2 here for my angle and 8 here, right, now I can say that angle 2 is going to be congruent to angle 6. So one is on the outside and one is on the inside of the parallel lines on the same side of the transversal. And the last pair is going to be angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. Okay, 4 is on the inside of the parallel lines, 8 is on the outside of the parallel lines, and on the same side of the transversal line there, which is U. So those are the 4 pairs of corresponding angles. Now let's go to the alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angle, as the word exterior is telling you, that it's going to be located on the outside or on the external of the parallel lines. So let's take example here. Looking on the outside, you have angle 1 and 2 on the outside, angle 7 and 8 on the outside. So now remember, if they're alternate exterior, alternate alone tells you that they're on opposite side or alternate side of the transversal. So we have, for example, angle 1 is going to be congruent. One is on the outside to angle 8 on the alternate side. Angle 1 is going to be congruent to angle 8. And the other pair is going to be angle 2 is going to be congruent to angle 7. Angle 2 is going to be congruent to angle 7. Now, you only have 2 pairs of alternate exterior angles, just the same way you only have 2 pairs of alternate interior angles here. Now, vertical angles. You're going to have, vertical angles are congruent, and let's start out with the first set of vertical angles. Let's look above here. So we can start off with saying angle 1 is congruent to angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. All right, these two are vertical angles. Also, angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. So let's write that other pair. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. All right, another pair, looking on this lower section here, we can say that angle 5 is congruent to angle 8. And the last pair is that angle 6 is congruent to angle 7. So those are your vertical angles. Now, let's get into the same side interior angle, or what is also called the consecutive interior angles. Now, say for instance, hypothetically speaking, I label this as 30 degrees right here. If that is 30 degrees, then the other angle over here is going to be 150 degrees, because we know the angle on a straight line will be equal to 180 degrees. Let's use 2 arcs for that. Now, because this is 150, the angle 3 measure is equals to 150 degrees, I can also say that it's going to be congruent to the measure for angle 6, which is also going to be 150 degrees. All right, and we can then also say that angle 5, the measure of angle 5, will be 30 degrees. Now, that also is equal to 180 degrees because it's the angle on a straight line. Now, if you notice here, 30 plus 150 is going to give you 180. So then we can state that consecutive interior angles are angles 4 plus angle 6. That is your pair of consecutive interior angles, angle 4 and 6. So you have angle 4 here plus angle 6 will equals to 180 degrees. Okay, another example, angles 3 and angle 5 is another example. So angles 3 plus angle 5 is going to give you 180 degrees. All right, and then from that you can just tie in the rest also, and you will note that you will have this pair is going to be congruent to this, so this is going to be 150 degrees. Also, angle 7 is going to be 150 degrees, right? And we have angle 8 right here will be 30 degrees. Likewise, angle 1 right here will be 30 degrees. Now, we also notice that because I told you about the vertical angles, opposite angles right here, so angle 7 is congruent to angle 6, both 150 degrees. Same thing with measure of angle 5 and measure of angle 8. They're congruent, they're both equal to 30 degrees right there. Same thing applies for this upper section, angle 1 and 4, as we have stated here, the first one, they're both 30 degrees, and angle 2 and angle 3, they're both equals to 150 degrees, they're congruent angles. So basically what I've just done is explain to you scenarios or things that are formed, angles that are formed coming from parallel lines cut by transversal. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share with others around the world, and keep on watching my videos and look out for things on I would say finance, pattern making, fashion, and also math education, not just geometry. I do algebra also. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Bye. Cheers.